Man, that was one of the more boring games of the season as we sat here and had to watch the 76ers fall to the Miami Heat 118-95, and they are now officially eliminated from NBA playoffs 2025 contention.
I thought they were going to make it, man.
Following that loss, in September. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Rich Hoffman, Devon Givens, Bree with this. We'll check in from the arena with Derek a little bit later. All of you in the chat, we can't wait to talk to you on this Saturday night where it's officially done. No more squinting of the eyes or anything that Daryl Morey told us to do. The squinting, well, that'll have to wait till the 25-26 campaign gets underway in October. Rich, it's finally done. And as I said, this was a hard watch tonight.
Yeah, luckily we had other stuff to watch, right?
Yeah, we'll get to those later.
I mean, the end of that Florida game, that was pretty good.
That was really good. That was really good.
And the end of that Nets game, that was pretty good as well. So everybody, again, I don't even know sometimes who the Sixers are signing when they sign Philip Wheeler and you have to check in. So, of course, I'm not going to know who the Nets have signed on 10-day contracts. I will give Devon a lot of credit. He knows who these teams signed to 10-day contracts. So here I am opening up my laptop to watch the final minutes of the game, and I'm like, man, Drew Timme is on the Nets. Gonzaga, Drew Timme, and Gonzaga, Drew Timme.
March Madness, baby.
On a pick and roll, gets the bucket, down one with about, I think it was like 5-6 seconds left in the game. Brooklyn gets the stop on the other end. They almost blew it. But your Philadelphia 76ers now have the 5th worst record in all of basketball. And with that, an extra 20% chance to keep their pick. So it was a good night.
So with that, Rich will do our daily spin a little bit later on. So stay tuned for that to see where we fall, because the last time out, Rich got the number 2 overall pick. So with the odds improving a bit, move up just a bit, half game up on the Nets, you might get another good spin tonight, courtesy of the daily Tankathon spin. But we'll talk about the player of the game a little bit later. Tank Watch, as we just talked about, that was our Tank Watch, but we'll officially show you the graphic, talk a little bit more about that. And we'll also go into Prospect Watch with Duke Blue Devils currently playing right now against Alabama in the Elite Eight. Florida advancing to the Final Four with their win over Texas Tech. So we'll get into all of that a little bit later. Check in with Derek from the arena. I'd imagine that might be pretty quick too, just like it was the other night with Kyle. So we'll breeze through this one tonight here as the Sixers fall 118-95. But it's not putting a capper on the season because the Sixers still do have 8 games remaining. By the way, they play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow evening at the center. So back-to-back for the Philadelphia 76ers. Doesn't get any easier because they face the Knicks in New York on Tuesday at the Garden. So nothing gets easier for the Sixers as things start to wind down. But as we sit here with you tonight, again, tough watch, but we have some other things going on that occupied our time, basketball related, and it was good. It was good for that. But that said, man, this was a really, really, really boring game to watch.
Yeah. Look, Tyler Herro understood the assignment. And this Sixers defense, it's just, it is what is fueling the tank, man. It's really not any one individual player. I guess if you wanted to be mean, you could point out some of those guys. I'm not going to do it. It's really just that they give up like 45% shooting from the three-point line every night, and teams are wide open and guys are scrambling, and it's just very easy to get good looks against them, and teams have been knocking down their shots. Washington the other night, knocking down their shots. Miami tonight, knocking down their shots. So that has been good. That has been fueling the tank. I don't know. I thought for most of the first half, they played pretty well offensively. Grimes had it going. He made, I think, 3 threes to start the game. He had the one where he made the 4-point play. Edwards was playing well to start. Bona had a couple of dunks. But again, this defense over a 48-minute game is just going to give up too many quality looks. And yeah, they struggled a little bit in the second half on the offensive end as well. But that's the big thing, man. Every night they play, their defense is just, it's a struggle. You know, whatever schemes they put out there. Tyler Herro was picking them apart tonight. When Bam Adebayo was not settling, he finally got to the rim a few times in that second half. But it's just very easy to score against these guys, and that's it.
Yeah, it really was, man. It was too easy. Every time we look at these box scores, I always find it interesting now to look and see what the opponent shot that particular night. And even though Miami only shot 47%, it again felt like they shot 57%. It was almost as if because the Sixers were hanging around a little bit earlier, they made themselves come back into the game and got right back in it. All of that after the Heat would take a double-digit lead. Man, listen, you look at it and you're like, all right, the Sixers are scoring, the Heat are scoring, nobody's stopping each other. They're both shooting 60% from the floor. The Sixers shot 50% from the floor on 38 for 76 from the field, where the Miami Heat were 44 for 93. They had 16 offensive rebounds to the 76ers 6. Sometimes the box score can lie to you. But if you watch that game, you saw that there were a ton of offensive rebound opportunities for Miami. Khalil Ware and Bam Adebayo was just with their height. Pelly Larson just getting seemingly every loose ball he could get his hand on. He did. And he only had 3 offensive rebounds, but it seemed like he had 13 because he was all over the place for the Miami Heat. But again, you're not blaming the Sixers players anymore because look at what we're talking about now. They have 51 losses on the season, folks. They started tonight their 50th starting lineup of the year. Their 50th different starting lineup of the year, and they have 51 losses. Think about that. Are we serious? Is this what this is what the season has officially come to? And now that they're officially eliminated from the playoffs, man, it took what? 74 games in order for them to get eliminated from the playoffs with a 23-50 going into tonight's record. That is unbelievable, man, just how bad of a season it has been. And then we have to sit there like we all do, and we will, and we talk about them. We go player of the game. We do all that stuff. But, man, it's just been a tough way for this season to play out. Once we start to really reflect on game 1 to game 10 to game 20 to game 30 and so on until we get to the end of the season, man, just to think about what this really was this year.
Was it a night for reflection for you? About what we've seen. So
kinda.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's official tonight and we knew this was coming, but when I was covering this team for another outlet and even last year as well, we kind of knew how the season would go. The season would basically end in the same spot every year. It would it'd start in October and you knew you were mostly going until like the second week of May. And obviously they could not get past the second round. But we got usually a month of playoff basketball from these guys. And look, I know the ends of those seasons were not pretty for a lot of fans, but we got it. You know, they were in the fight. They were playing meaningful basketball. This is different, right? This has been almost a decade now where we're here in March and they're just completely playing out the string. And it is the product of just a disastrous season on a million different levels. And we are back to counting ping pong balls. Tonight was a good outcome in that regard. But yeah, this season has been a complete bummer, and I'm sure we will have a few different. We could have like a funeral for it in a couple weeks, or post-mortem, or
we still wearing our helmets, the tank helmets, because the agenda is not complete yet. The mission is not complete. Still have some work to do.
Well, we got the tank helmets on over our actual hats tonight.
We do. Yeah. We do. Yeah. We needed that one. But yeah, man, just
a new look.
It is, it's easier too because we don't have to worry about all that, and the helmets are big enough where they can just fit over the regular hat, and it doesn't make things a little bit uncomfortable.
Multi-purpose
at all. Multi-purpose. Same for the Flyers too. We're wearing it for them too. Multi-purpose tank helmets for the Sixers and the Flyers. But yeah, man, just looking at this one even tonight at 23-51, the Sixers did post 6 players in double figures, which is cool. 6 players in double figures. That's fine.
Did a lot of guys play okay tonight offensively?
Yeah, but for where they are right now, this is just what it is. This is just what it is right now, man, because of the mere fact that you get 19 and 10 from Jared Butler, which was a double-double tonight to lead the Sixers in all categories. He was really good.
He
was really good. You had 16 and 10 from Adem Bona, another double-double.
It's good.
Good stuff to look at from there. But, it's just all right, how many times are we going to sit there and continue to praise these guys when we also have to watch the opponent, watch what they do? Because, yes, we're giving them credit. We're looking at things for the future of how it may play out within a actual rotation where they can fit in for 10, 15 minutes potentially for the Sixers. And you go from there, right? But this, just to sit there and watch this one, watch the loose balls opportunity for Miami, watch this offensive rebounds for Miami, the way that Tyler Herro just started toying with them with those 3-point chances that he was making. Khalil Ware looked like Wilt Chamberlain just grabbing rebounds over guys, with just the length. Because we talk about it oftentimes where Gershon Yabusele, no fault of his own, he's 6'8", can't jump very high. And look, he's playing against actual centers who are very athletic with some wingspan that can get those rebounds, right? It's not his fault, but we look at it and we're sitting there and we're just, all three of us are just sitting there looking at each other with the other TV on, watching college basketball too, just shaking our heads because this is where we are. So it's kind of that kind of reflection of the season where they are officially eliminated. It's been disappointing, and they play again tomorrow, by the way. They play the Raptors tomorrow at home, where we thought that might mean something for the tank and all. Yeah. Even if the Raptors beat them tomorrow, we want them to beat them tomorrow. Sure. And we want the Nets to continue to pick up a win here and there while the Sixers just lose out, which won't happen. But yeah, this has just been a frustrating watch.
They could lose out. I think it's possible.
Run the schedule, because I just named the next two, because I know it's Raptors tomorrow, Knicks on Tuesday. I know they have Chicago.
Depends. If Maxey is actually held out for the rest of the year, they kind of keep slow playing this and saying, all right, he's not ready yet. 2 more games. I mean, at some point, they're just going to run into the end of the season here.
And I saw one report earlier. I don't remember who it was, so I apologize. We know all the writers, all that stuff. But somewhere, somehow, somebody put out there that Andre Drummond apparently was going to miss the next 5 games. Word?
Yeah,
it's not on them. It's just, really?
It's not a top of mind for Sixers fans, I don't think. Andre Drummond's status.
He's missed like the last 8. He's going to miss the next 5?
So here's the schedule.
Miss the next 8, yes. Continue.
So here's the schedule.
All right, please.
Tomorrow night, Toronto. I don't think Toronto played tonight. And Toronto, unfortunately, is just going to win more games than the Sixers. Masai is really bummed. And then it gets hard, man. At New York, loss. Versus the Bucks, loss. Versus the Wolves, loss. Yes. At Miami, loss. The one game that could be a dub besides Toronto.
Washington?
At Washington.
At Washington.
But at Washington. You gotta go into that tough arena to play in. Is it called Capital One Arena? I don't know. Whatever it is. Big win for the Brooklyn Nets in that building tonight. And then you got Atlanta and Chicago at home to end the season. I guess you could be a little bit worried about those games because maybe they might not try. Maybe they might be locked into their seed.
Yeah.
I remember there was a game a couple of years ago where Shake Milton just had a night against the Hawks, who were trying for play-in position. Sixers were already locked into their seed. Shake Milton took them home to get the win. So whoever the Atlanta Hawks version of Shake Milton is, let's get it going in that game.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, they're probably not going to lose out.
That'd be Risha Shea.
Yeah, he's playing well.
Yeah,
but like maybe 1-7 is possible for 24 and 58 to finish the year, which is just, I think that would be fitting, right? A 333 winning percentage. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, and you said it for tonight's game. I mean, the big reason they lose tonight, despite the fact that a lot of guys were okay offensively, is they gave up 17 more shots. And they only had 1 more free throw. Turnovers. Offensive rebounds. Just killing you, losing the possession game. So that was the story of tonight's game. But, and Scott, I believe, said it in the chat too, like part of the reason that happens is you need continuity on defense. You need guys that are playing on a string and know how to rotate, know where the other guy's going to be. if I go for this block, you'll go here. And they have none of that right now. They have none of that. And it just felt like there were a lot of possessions where Miami's pinging the ball around the perimeter. They're going to get an open shot. And the Sixers guys, they're trying.
They are.
But they're a little bit running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They just don't really know where to go. They're trying. The effort is there, but playing defense in the NBA, as we know, for rookies usually takes a few years, right? It's a much different game than college. There's much more space. The rules are different. When they are playing a lot of these young guys, a lot of these fringe type guys, it's hard.
Yeah. So Miami wins 4 in a row. Sixers are now at 7th consecutive losses, and they are at 23-51 and officially, folks, eliminated from the 2025 NBA playoffs. All right, when we come back, we'll get into more of the game. We'll also get into Tank Watch with the the Brooklyn Nets game against the Washington Wizards. Talk about how that played out. Prospect Watch with the NCAA tournament still ongoing, especially with the Duke game currently in play right now. And we'll check in with the Florida as well. Our daily Tankathon spin, we'll do that a little bit later. And the Sixers can, again, certainly help themselves tomorrow with another loss to the Toronto Raptors, hosting them on the second night of a back-to-back. We'll talk about more of the young guys on the other side when we get back. Sixers fall 118-95 to the Miami Heat, eliminated from the playoffs. This is the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Guys, gals, listen, this season has had you pull your hair out week after week after week after week. 1 week you're thinking, oh, they'll get it together, the Sixers. Oh, no, they'll get it together this week, the Sixers. They have a 9-3 record in the month of December. They're going to be good in January. Trade deadline upcoming. They'll get it together. Your hair's already gone now. Now you have to get it right. The weather's 80 degrees today. It's going to be really nice tomorrow. And you got to have your hair to look right as we get ready to get into spring and the summer. Vacations upon us. Glad Hair Restoration is the place for you. Glad Hair teaming up with the good people at Morgenstern Center for orbital and facial plastic surgery. And they recently welcomed the Glad Group to the practice, teaming up again. An exciting chapter there for Dr. Morgenstern's highly respected legacy. A true advocate for the great people at Glatt and Dr. Morgenstern now with the team meeting up is having the exciting John Marks Daily on the PHLY channel, 8 a.m., who's been an advocate for Dr. Glatt for many years, now part of Morgenstern, spearheading the marketing campaign for many years, and now on our platform here at PHLY, educating the audience through authentic stories and engaging narrative overall from John Marks. And if you see John in the morning, you see the full head of hair. It looks beautiful, beautiful head of hair. And beautiful, that's courtesy of, once again, and he will tell you very clearly, Glatt Hair Restoration now teaming up with Dr. Morgenstern. And here's what you get. You get one-on-one care, a 100% personalized hair restoration plan of action designed just for you and your specific hair loss. You get follow-up care, cutting-edge hair loss prevention treatments, medications, and much more. Glatt Hair can help you keep the hair you already have or help bring back what you have already lost, especially when your basketball team loses 51 games on the campaign. Here's what you do. If you like more information and ready to defend your hairline today, visit GlattHairMM.com. That's GlattHairMM.com, or you can call or text 610-980-4000.
Monarch Money. Guys, I know it can be hard to keep track of your money. Whether you're dining out, whether you're ordering food delivery, it can be hard to know where your money goes at different times throughout your life. And finances, they can be messy and confusing. And Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. It's more than your average budgeting app. Monarch Money is a complete financial command center for your accounts, investments, and goals. Don't just manage your money, guys. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for PHLY listeners. Guys, start managing your finances to build the life you actually want. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for busy lives. And with all of your accounts, credit cards, and investments in one place, You'll always know where your money stands without the hassle. Track your spending, savings, and investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. Monarch Money is the finance tool that people actually love. They were named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, the top recommended finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 5-star reviews. Financial stress is one of the top reasons that relationships fall apart, by the way, Devon. And Monarch, they make money conversations easier. So guys, get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That is 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHLY.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Now 7 losses in a row for the Philadelphia 76ers. We'll get to in just a few minutes as well our temperature check, courtesy of Ace Hardware. We'll do that just shortly. But I wanted to tail on something really quickly before we get to some of what Nick Nurse had to say. We'll talk to Derek Bodner a little bit later. But one thing that when you were talking about the young guys that I just wanted to say is that when you mentioned you have to have time, it takes rookies a long time, it takes young players a long time. Rich, they're also playing a lot of minutes for what they're not used to playing. These guys are not used to playing 22, 27, 30 minutes a night and doing so on back-to-backs, which they had 5 sets of back-to-backs in the month of March. They've had, 17 games this month, and they've played a bulk of the games.
They play too many games in the sport.
Yeah. Well, I'm always the one I like 82 and leave it 82. So we can talk about that another time, but I might be able to lean in at like 74, something like that.
Man.
Yeah, I'm not in the 66.
No?
That's not for me. No, I like the games to be played. And I understand having meaning to those games and all of that. The NBA has to figure it out because the teams are now taking advantage of whatever the rules are to take advantage of the rest for their star players. So they have to figure that out of how to go about it and make sure that their players are available. And when they try to find teams for, messing with all the different ways of keeping guys out just for specifically nationally televised games, all-stars, as you mentioned that one night when we were talking about it, they have to figure something out. Now, I can get into somewhere in the 70s. I just can't get to the 66 number for the entire season. For me, no, that's where I guess I stick with the traditional part of it, where I need basketball.
So here's the thing, because look, we're looking for losses right now because those are the rules and those are the situations. That is the situation, that the Sixers are currently in. What would you do to stop this tanking? There's 8 teams right now that are really not trying. And will it matter once the playoff starts? No, because there are going to be great teams. There are going to be Cleveland and Oklahoma City and the Lakers. They now have LeBron and Luka, and Golden State now has Jimmy Butler. There's going to be plenty of storylines. But this March basketball is not very good.
It's not. What do you do? First of all, for people who may not have followed us from our other places, when I was on the radio, Rich writing for the places that he was writing for, we were both involved in watching how the rebuild was done in the 2010s when they got things started. For people who don't know, I was not in favor of it. I understood it. I always said it. I know what they're doing. I don't like it because that's where the part that we talk about of the traditional way of how you do things, do it. It's your job. Do it, right? But they took advantage of a rule. Fair game. I understood it. I just didn't like it. But to your point where we are now, it's not just that it's the Sixers, but it's every year, Rich. They've already changed the lottery now where you have to have, in order for you to really get it, top three? Yeah. Get the best odds. But you still have 5 other teams tanking to make sure that they're in the mix too. And that's where things really have to change. The NBA, as much as I love it, there are so many people, like I go on Anthony's show in the morning. Anthony's like, I just don't like the product anymore. And I can't really argue with him.
I like
can
the
tell
product
him,
at the highest level.
Yes, exactly. But then when you go in and you're like, all right, how many teams can actually win? 6.
See, I'm okay
or
with that.
8.
I'm okay with that.
And I'm
part.
okay with that too. But when you have everybody at the bottom just not participating,
Yeah, exactly.
It takes away from me saying, okay, I can have a debate here because they're right. They're right. Charlotte has an all-star player in LaMelo Ball. He probably plays like 60 games. Brandon Miller, real injury, so he misses time. Zion Williamson is a superstar in this league. Has he really earned that title? No, because he doesn't play enough basketball. And yes, part of it is injury. Part of it is self-inflicted because, listen, I'm not into guys, I don't know what's going on with his diet. You hear stuff. We've been around the league long enough where you hear stuff. You hate to see that. Portland, how many times are you going to have an opportunity to draft player after player after player after player and still not get it right?
Yeah.
Then you have the Chicago Bulls. Fantastic run right now. The Chicago Bulls team, CHGO, as you pointed out for their show, they're going nuts because they're speaking for the fan base.
They would kill for the Sixers level of tanking right now.
Exactly. So that's where the problem does lie for the NBA, and it stinks because I love this game.
Me too.
I really love basketball. That's why, and Igavini says, Devon, I got to disagree with you. I'm with Rich. You need less games. I agree with the less games. I just didn't take it as far down as you guys did. But they have to figure something out. How about they want to change the All-Star game? They do what they did this year with the European rules, and during the week, Silver says, yeah, we're scrapping that. We're going back to the old way.
Yeah.
They're just constantly getting things wrong.
Well, yeah, and they are. But so they have an issue. Their issue is twofold. Number one, in every single sport, the worst teams, we have all come to the agreement that the worst teams need to get the best players coming into the league.
Yes.
That's the way it works because you just can't have teams for 10, 15 years not having a shot to get better. And that is the way it works in every one of the 4 leagues. The issue, Devon, is that unless there is a great quarterback available, and I'm talking Andrew Luck level, just obvious great player, maybe the 3 quarterbacks from last year would qualify, May Williams and Daniels. If you don't have that, basketball is the one sport where the one guy can change your fortunes, right? And so teams are going to chase that reward a little bit harder in this sport. So, and that's the issue that they have right now. Now, I don't know what the right answer is. One thing I would like to see moving forward, the Sixers traded a top 6 protected pick 5 years ago. And that's, look, you see that a lot in the NBA. You see top 10 protected picks, you see top 5 protected picks, and you're allowed to make it whatever you want. One thing I would like to see moving forward is that you would not be allowed to do a top 6 protected pick. You can do a top 4 protected pick, which means you get enough lottery balls to win one of the 4 slots. You can make it lottery protected, nothing in between. Because the situation that the Sixers are in right now, of course they're not going to try that hard as an organization. And really, they haven't been that egregious. But that would be the first thing. I'd say, look, if you want to make a top 4 protected pick, that's fine. If you want to make it anything less than that, that's fine. But there's nothing in between that and lottery protected.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I really am because they have to figure something out because we're sitting here and you just talked about it. The Sixers doing what they're doing. It took them this long though.
Oh yeah.
Even for them, where remember a month ago, the president of basketball ops is saying that, hey, if you squint hard enough, Cleveland doesn't want to play us. Really?
Yeah.
Seriously? Yeah. Are you sure Joel's going to be able to play through a 7-game series when you say that? Probably not. Probably not. So the squinting is going to do what? Exactly. When you get in, play Cleveland, get wiped off the floor in the first round, your pick is gone, and we like Quentin Grimes, but that's your big pickup. Yeah. With all due respect to Quentin Grimes, who we like and glad that they did do that move. What? Yeah. So that's where we are, man. And it's just been a tough season.
What's the record been since the squinting comments? It's like 3-22.
It's been really bad.
Something like that.
It's been really bad. I looked at it too, where they lost 5 games in a row. They lost 5 games in a row like 5 times. 5 times.
I'm
And
looking
that's
at it
not
right
counting.
now.
And that's not counting the time where they go and lose 4 in a row when they had 9 straight losses, where you don't double, or when they lost 7 games in a row, and then the 9 games in a row. No, that's just 5 times in a row that they've lost this season. They have lost 5 different times, 5 times in a row. That is 25 losses. And then you tack on the next 4, the next 3 that made it the 9-game losing streak, the 7-game losing streak that they have going on right now, the other 7-game losing streak that they had. Unbelievable stuff, man. Unbelievable stuff.
They have a 7, a 9, and a 7 in this calendar year.
7, 9, and 7.
I remember
That's
the Al Horford year,
Yes.
which was bad. They
7 games losing
They
streak.
were the 6th seed that year, so
Yeah.
they still won a bunch of games.
That's the bubble.
A bunch of games that year,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember they had a 4-game losing streak during that season, and it was like, everybody was losing their minds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Simmons,
4-game losing streak.
trade Simmons, get Al Horford off the
And
floor.
it was like a couple of those games,
Josh Richardson
like
stinks.
Ben wasn't available
Right.
either. Too, like it wasn't a completely understandable 4-game losing streak, but it wasn't like they were at full strength for all of those. Man, that's just like child's play now. Like
Yeah.
we're doing that every week. Those are rookie numbers, to quote Matthew McConaughey in Wolf of Wall Street. Those are rookie numbers.
Yeah, man. It's just big time stuff. All right, folks, we're gonna take another break. We come back, get to the we'll get to the Ace Hardware temperature check in on that. We'll also get to the play of the game, check in with Derek from the arena, and we'll get to the tank watch and the prospect watch as well. Sixers fall 118-95. We'll get to all the other stuff on the other side right here on the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Are your joints aching and your hands cramping? Maybe your back's a little bit out of whack? Well, Rothman's got you covered. No worries. Rothman's got you covered. All right, the weather's warming up. You're outside playing basketball, maybe some tennis. Went out today, had to do some things, and where we were, there was some tennis being played. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes people end up with a bad shoulder, or you sprain an ankle, twist it because you're trying to do a backhand, you're trying to run over and catch that tennis ball to keep it in play. Well, if you have any experienced pain from anything that you're doing, maybe it's just simply something at work or just walking around and you bang your knee and you need to get it checked out. Rothman Orthopedics, they practicing specialized care, and that has been their passion for over 50 years. The mission, high quality, compassion, and affordable care rooted in research. Research leading to new treatments and better outcomes overall. Each Rothman doc is laser focused on their specialty from hip, knee, spine, shoulder, ankle, wrist, you name it. They have a team for each body part right here in your backyard, so you can cross over the defense, drain those jump shots, and root for your teams like no other fans in the country. Patients will find the full spectrum of orthopedic care at Rothman Orthopedics. From diagnosis to discharge, they provide their patients with every service and procedure necessary, such as x-rays, orthotics, bracing, MRIs, and PT, and much, much more. If you're ready and you need to get checked, and you need to get checked fast, well, get to it. Walk-in centers, urgent cares, 30-plus convenient offices found right here in the community, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all around. Visit Rothman Orthopedics, specialize in orthopedics, and you visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more and make an appointment today.
And guys, now let's talk about our friends over at the Game Time app. If you would like to go to a game, maybe a Sixers game over the next few weeks, got Phillies games all summer.
Cheap tickets.
Cheap tickets for the Final Four?
Final Four, yeah.
Final Four, Final Five, something like that. Anyway, they are cheap tickets. They will be readily available for you. And if you want to go and just watch some NBA hoops for a very affordable cost, go to the Game Time app. And Game Time has these incredible features like priority and Game Time picks with curation that makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and even more. All-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They got seat views for you guys. You can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks and download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHLY for 20% off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
Who? Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Let's take a look at our temperature check. Let's take a look at who's heating up, who's cooling off with our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your very next project. You know where I wanted to go with the heating up?
Where'd you want to go?
It's good to have baseball back.
I'm with you, man.
It is good to have some baseball back. It is good to have baseball back, especially when you have your team doing what they have done, winning the first 2 games. I told you the other day when we started talking about this, I hate the day off. You get the Thursday, and then you're off on Friday, you play Saturday and Sunday.
I don't know what they're doing in
I
baseball.
don't understand that part. I do not understand that part.
They jammed like 10 games on Thursday in the 4 p.m. window. Number one, the 4 p.m. window, when there's shadows and it's hard to see.
Yes.
I understand how you got to put like some games in that slot, but come on, what are you doing? And then there's no game the next day. I know they do it for, I guess, a rain delay, which is what happened to the Phillies last year, but come on, guys. Like, grow the game. Rob Manfred, you can like solicit some tips from us. We'll do it for free.
Come on, Rob.
We'll schedule that thing out for you.
That said, for your baseball team, starting off 2-0, man, and leading the division, that's what you like to see. Leading division, doing their part, winning on the road, taking care of business against Washington. One more game tomorrow, and hopefully they get that one done. But just to see, again, we've talked about the starting pitching, where you get 2 opportunities right out of the gate where you get Zach Wheeler. He's Zach Wheeler. He does what he does. Then you get the one today, man, where I know we talked about it and we knew that there was potential that he could be really good. Jesus Luzardo struck out 11 batters in 5 innings in his debut for the Phils today.
We knew he had talent, man. He pitched in that wild card game here a couple years ago.
Scared the hell out of everybody.
He's got good stuff. He's just got to stay healthy.
Yeah, so
I was a little surprised that I guess I shouldn't be surprised. The Marlins just give up on every player, and
even when they were winning,
they got Starlin
people.
Starlin Caba back in that deal, who's a pretty good prospect. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice to have the Fightins back.
Nice to have it back.
Nice to see them good. I will say too, another thing, I am excited too for mid-April when we can focus in on a lot of these draft prospects, but also watch the NBA playoffs too, because I think there are a lot of great teams, and I think there can be some high-level basketball. Our conversation in the last segment was a lot about this month, where it just March is the doldrums for the NBA, and that's the way it's been for a while. It's not like the Sixers haven't been part of it the past few years. They've just been on the winning side of it, right? They've just been beating up on the Charlottes of the world, and Joel scoring 40 points in 2.5 quarters and getting out of there. Anyway, they're on the tanking side of it now.
Honorable mention for the heating up just for today. Don't like this franchise. The Yankees, folks. 9 home runs. 4 in the first inning. 9 home runs. 20-9 they win today over Milwaukee. And I think I saw when Milwaukee tweeted after the game, I think they simply said something as basic as the game is over. And it was good call. Good call, social media team. The game is over.
At least they had the courage.
Honorable mention, 9 home runs, 4 in the first for the Yankees. Unbelievable stuff. That is our heating up, cooling off segment, our temperature check, courtesy of Ace Hardware. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. All right.
Jeffrey Stewart in the chat says, if the Phillies win tomorrow, that's 3 wins in March, which would be more
than
your Philadelphia 76ers.
Good call. Good call, Jeff. Insane stuff. Because tomorrow's the last game.
It's been a long month.
It's been a very long month. And we knew it. 17 games, all that stuff. They always do that to the Sixers anyway, but the Sixers have been able to get through these months because they're a playoff team and contenders.
Yeah.
Not this year.
What? Let's answer Riaz's question.
Riaz.
Who does Devon want to see win it since the Sixers are out of it? I assume he means the NBA Finals.
Yeah, so I mean, it's clearly just growing up here. I never liked the Knicks. It's a little different now, where I don't actively root for the Knicks. I root for him, but I have to root for them in order for him to win.
Remove them.
Okay, but he's obviously
sure.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, he's number one. Yeah,
sure.
I want my cousin to win an NBA championship.
Absolutely.
So I would hate that the Knicks won.
Take them out.
Take them out. The first ones that really come to mind are OKC.
I'd like to see OKC
because I like how they do things. I like OKC, and honestly, that's probably really it. I don't want Memphis to win because I don't know what's going on, but I don't like how they handle the Taylor Jenkins situation.
I don't want the Lakers to win.
Don't want the Lakers to win. Denver, it's like whatever. It's been kind of annoying these last couple of seasons just because of the discourse going back, but I do like watching them.
Sure.
I do like watching them. That said, I would like to see OKC win.
OKC or Cleveland. That would be my pick.
Interesting. Cleveland, huh?
I'm very much an anybody but Boston guy.
Oh, yeah. You see, I didn't name them. Just out. You're just out. You're out.
I know, but they're good.
They're very good. They're very good. Very good. Very good.
I think OKC is the best team, though. I think that defense is super legit. They just got to be able to get Chet through 3 rounds of the playoffs.
So I was going to go there because I was talking to somebody in the league earlier today, and they were saying the one thing about the OKC thing is, can Chet play 4 rounds?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Now, that's why they gave all that money to Hartenstein also. And you load up on the offensive stuff everywhere else, and you have defensive players getting Caruso. The Giddey-Caruso conversation has changed because of what Giddey has done for Chicago and what Caruso hasn't really done for OKC, but they hadn't needed him to do that. What they really need him for is the postseason. Yeah. So we'll see if his value is really met there once things get underway. Scott says he would also love to see the Cavs win. Kyle
I would like to see that too.
Kyle says the Clippers are coming on now. Kawhi is playing some healthy basketball.
Yeah, he's playing well.
So yes. So that's that. Super chats in this one. James says, I heard the Thunder gets the Sixers pick. Do. Yes.
Sure.
Top 6 protected.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's why you want him to tank, James. Top 6 protected. Cross your fingers on May 12th that the Sixers keep that pick and the Thunder do not get it, and they get it next year instead of this year.
Yeah.
Yes, because Cooper Flag and those top guys are in this draft. Although
the Thunder will not be getting Cooper Flag.
No. If they did.
No, they can't.
I know, but if they did, just looking at the roster, if like they had that guy on their roster,
teams wouldn't be able to score 10 points against them.
Unbelievable. We go to the next one. Riaz here. $64 million question. Do the 76ers lose out?
I like that. Is that a play on the $64,000 question?
Yes.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Yes.
Riaz, we went through it. I think 1-7 is the likeliest outcome. There are a couple different options.
Is that game there or here? It's there, right?
Which one?
Washington.
It's there.
Yeah.
Tough one. Going on the road.
They almost beat Brooklyn tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to shoot very well from the 3-point line to beat the Sixers the other night.
Yes, they did. So there's a chance, Riaz, that they go 1-7 down the final 8 games. 1-7. Yeah. Riaz says, I live in Cleveland and find the Cavs fans obnoxious. Anyone but the Cavs. Interesting.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when you're there and you're not a fan of their team. And
sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that, Riaz.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the arena. Check in with one of the, let me see how many they said were actually in the building tonight. Sell out on the Saturday night. Rich couldn't hold it and he had to laugh. Let's get to the arena. Check in.
By the way, the Sixers aren't the only ones who do that. The Phillies did that for forever. So
yeah, I mean, they sold out the season like they always do. So technically, I guess it was a sellout.
I'm not clowning the Sixers.
Nah, but the game did go fast. An hour. Let's get to the arena and check in with Derek Bodner. Derek, joining us live from Derek, that game was 1 hour and 57 minutes. That was a 7:30 start. We looked at each other and said, man, that was a fast game.
It was a beautiful game. It was absolutely beautiful. The game was quick. The post game lost. The Nets won. It was everything I could have asked for. I'm going to go home and watch a little Cooper Flag on the DVR. It is a great night all around.
Yes, it is, man. Well, look, we looked at this one, and they are officially eliminated. We've been talking a lot about the fact that a little reflection, but just a little bit, because I know we'll get to that as the season comes to an end and we have a show. But 51 losses, 50 different starting lineups after tonight's starting lineup, and they are officially eliminated from the 2025 postseason.
Yeah, like you said, I don't want to, kill too much of our off-season content because we will have 5 long months to look back on this season. Nick did talk a little bit after the game, just like every time it felt like they got it going. And really, when you say it felt like they got it going, you're talking about 2 stretches. You're talking about that December stretch, then when they came back and won 4 or 5 in a row. And he's like, every time we would get out a big win, it seemed like 1 or 2 people would go down, and then you would be, behind the 8 ball going forward. And certainly when you write the story on the season, item number 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that bullet points are going to be injuries. It's impossible to avoid that. But so much went wrong. And so much went wrong in the first 3 months, not just from the injuries, but they should have been better. They were never good enough, when they had 2 out of their 3 big stars. They were never good enough in the rare instances where they had all 3 of their big stars. And certainly they never had a chance to really develop any kind of chemistry and consistency. That's fair. But this talent, they should have gotten more out of the talent that they did have. They should have gotten more, or at least given you more of a glimpse of what the talent of the big 3 is capable of. And it would be one thing if it was only like, yeah, Embiid and Paul George are injury unknowns. We would have to navigate that, and that would be tough. That would make for a real tough offseason. But having those 3 injury unknowns, but also not even really knowing what the upside is really like when they're healthy and available, not really knowing what you can count on them if you do get some good injury luck, that makes it twice as difficult. So it is, I will give him certainly the injuries were a tough way and put them in a really tough spot, but it never felt like they were anywhere close to even scratching the surface on their potential. And that's a big part of the story too.
Derek, did Nurse say anything about Grimes playing in Tankapalooza tomorrow night?
He said that he hasn't gotten any word from the medical staff. Obviously, the coaching staff likes to remove themselves from that process as much as possible. That might be he actually doesn't know. That might be just his way of deflecting, but he says he hasn't gotten any word from medical on his availability for tomorrow. Certainly, I hope that he needs a little bit of rest after this one, for sure.
Devon and I, the little that we talked about the game, just gave up 17 more shots than the Heat with 0 more free throws. It's kind of the story of the night. I guess here's my question. Do you think that this defense is so bad that they can lose out?
So what, they're on like a 7-game losing streak, something like that?
Yes.
And they have 8 games left?
Yes.
8 games left. So you're asking, can they end the season on a 15-game losing streak? Sort of the inverse of that Marco Bellinelli run.
Yes.
Probably not. Like, it feels like they're going to get one, right? They're going to squeak out one win somewhere. Like, they've got Washington again. They've got Toronto. They've got some really, really bad competition. Almost by dumb luck, you're going to back your way in. I am interested in whether or not they actually do go through with their stated, I don't want to say goal, but intention of having Tyrese Maxey come back. Maybe you can bring him back against someone like the Bucks or someone who you're going to lose to, even if you have your big guns. But if they bring Maxey back at the wrong time, they have a chance to scratch out a win. I'm certainly not, like, if you're giving me an over-under of 1.5, I'll take the under on that, just with the way, they've won 3 of their last, 26 games, something like that, 3 and 23 or 3 or 22. It doesn't matter. They've lost a whole bunch of games here against a lot of really bad competition. It's possible they could lose out. I would probably, if you gave me the over-under of 0.5, I'll take the over, but just the over.
Yeah, just over. But you're right. Look, Washington's on the schedule. Tomorrow they have Toronto, but Toronto has the day off. Sixers playing back-to-back. These guys are playing a lot of minutes, man. What's the sentiment from these young guys that you and Kyle have been talking to for weeks? You talked to them again tonight at the podium. Guys getting podium games that not used to. But the season's winding down. They're kind of reflecting on how things are going. They've only won, 2? You said 2 games this month? And It's unbelievable, man. 2 games this month where they've had a 9 since the 9, a 7, and a 7 game losing streak. And it's just unbelievable. What are the players that are able to talk because the others are not dressing?
Sorry, 3 games this month because
3.
Golden State was on March 1st.
Okay, 3 games this month. What's the talk from these young guys getting this opportunity, but also they're losing?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think like for example, today's podium players were Adem Bona and Jared Butler. When they're sitting there at the podium, like especially Jared Butler, who's playing for a contract, Adem Bona, who has, he's got, I think his next year, it doesn't matter. Adem Bona is looking to establish himself. Jared Butler's looking, he's got a team option for next season. He's looking to establish himself and just get some money, quite frankly, and get that contract picked up. I don't think they're, most of the people that we're talking to now, most people that are on the floor right now, they're not players who came into the season looking to make a championship run. Maybe Gershon Yabusele would be the one exception. When he signed here, he thought he was going to be playing a role on a team that had a chance to really go deep in the playoffs. But even he is sitting here trying to, get that next contract. So I think a lot of the players right now are just happy to have the opportunity to go out there and get the touches that they're getting, get the minutes that they're getting. Jared Butler spoke tonight about how he is, really getting, for the first time in his career, even though he's not really a new in the league, he's a relative veteran compared to a lot of the players out on the court right now. He's getting a chance to play night in, night out for really the first time in his career. I think a lot of players are looking at it from that perspective. That's one of the things that Rich and I would talk about a lot when we were going through the tanking years. It's like, yeah, it might be bad for the veterans who the Sixers aren't signing, or for the agents of the veterans, quite frankly, that they aren't signing. But for the players they do have, players like TJ, players like Jeremy Grant, players like Robert Covington have a chance to go out there, show what they can do, and they might not have gotten that opportunity in other places. So I think you're in a similar spot here where someone like Jared Butler is going to go out there and play hard. If they don't win, I don't think it's going to bother him too much. Not to say that he's not a competitor, but he's getting opportunity he otherwise wouldn't, and he's trying to make the most of it.
Yeah,
that's a good point. That wouldn't stun me if in 5 years Jared Butler is a decent backup point guard for somebody that isn't the Sixers, or maybe he is the Sixers.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
And he throws lobs, which Devon likes.
First play, man. Hit Bodner early for the lob. He had 10 assists tonight. Good stuff from Jared Butler. Final one, man. Non-Sixers related, but it was an interesting thing that happened yesterday. Taylor Jenkins fired by the Grizz, man. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that?
I was pretty shocked. That just wasn't a job. So it's one thing to say, like, all right, we're not sure if maybe there's some kind of a, we're not seeing eye to eye as an organization philosophically. Maybe there's something in the clubhouse. You've seen coaches on good teams get let go after the season. To happen now was pretty stunning. And quite frankly, it's still a little stunning. Like it does feel like there has to be some other shoe to drop, something to come out that would have precipitated this. It was just stunned, quite frankly. I'm sure there's, you can talk to somebody who's maybe around the team a little bit more. Maybe they had gotten some inkling of it, but to happen this late in the season, I did not see that coming at all.
Yep. Crazy stuff.
Last one for me. Favorite thing you've seen Cooper Flagg do in the tournament so far? He just scored.
Okay, I appreciate that, because I actually was trying to bring up my my YouTube TV. I was going to watch the game while talking to you guys, but I figured I should show at least a tiny bit of professionalism and actually talk to you guys and give you my full. I don't know if it was the right decision, but it's the one I made. In all honesty, it's just the way he's able to impact the game in every respect. I think his passing has been really good, and I think that was one of the question marks coming in. Obviously, that pull-up three the other night was, something I don't think a lot of people expected that he had in his bag coming in as an 18-year-old freshman. He's just so advanced in legitimately every aspect. And I still think there's going to be some people who are going to watch maybe the wrong game. They'll watch one Duke game all year, and maybe he doesn't have it going, or maybe he's not really creating all that much out of pick and roll, and be like, this isn't what I envision as a franchise player. But in the modern NBA, with his size, with his athleticism, with his diverse skill set, it's just really impressive the way he's able to do legitimately everything. Like if they give him space, he's able to create. If they throw a bunch of people at him, he's able to make the right reads. He never seems like he gets flustered. He never seems like he gets out of control. It was, the other night that was it like 36-7 or whatever he had. Mm-hmm. One of the best games I've seen from a college in the tournament from a freshman since maybe Carmelo. Like, you have to go back quite a ways to find a comparable performance. You just don't see a player that under control play the way he did. It's honestly, it's everything. It's not a single play. It's everything.
All right, man. Well,
I'm real impressed. And right now, I think the Sixers have like a 10% chance after today's loss. They move into the 5th seed. You have a 10% chance of getting that kid on your team for the foreseeable future. I know it's not a super high odds, but it is. It's what you got to cling to, man. It's what we need so bad. I need that draft pick more than anything else in my life.
As you've said,
I really
multiple
do.
times, multiple times. Well, listen, man, enjoy the rewatch of the Duke game tonight when you get home, and we'll also talk to you tomorrow when the Sixers host the Raptors on the second night of a back-to-back.
It's a big one.
Safe, man.
It's a big one.
It is a big one. Get home safe. We'll talk to you then. Thanks, man.
Same to you. Thank you.
See ya. Derek Bodner joining us live from the arena as the Sixers fall 118-95 to the Miami Heat. You want to just do that now?
Spin?
Yeah.
All right.
Since you have
from the 5th spot.
From the 5th spot now.
Some new real estate.
Drum roll, please, from Bree, which she gave us.
Oh, they fell. Well, here. Oh, no, this is good.
6.
They fell to 6.
They
kept the pick.
They kept the pick. Who are you taking at 6? We do this every show. Who are you taking at 6?
Who am I taking at 6?
Top 4, go top 4. You have Yakachunas, Queen. You have those guys available. Knipple.
Trey Johnson, maybe?
Still going Trey Johnson?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, that's my guy.
Yeah.
But he also disappointed me in those, especially that last game, that play-in game.
Against Xavier.
Yeah. Disappointed me. But he's talented as hell.
Yeah, I didn't think that team was like, I don't want to say like well coached, but they just like weren't like very
weren't.
Cohesive. Yeah.
No, they weren't. But he also jacks up some bad shots.
Yeah, he does.
He's my guy though. So much so that I've really considered moving Jeremiah Fears in front of him just because Fears has been that good. Now 6'6",
living in the paint.
6'6" versus 6'4", you know, so you're talking really 6'5" versus 6'3". But, you know, another small guard for the Sixers is never, it's never a good thing there. All right, let's get to the player of the game of tonight's games. And we talked a little bit about, look at him. Look at Jared. He get a podium game tonight and the player of the game, Jared Butler, double-double, 19 and 10, 4 made threes, perfect from behind the three-point line, and still just had really good command of the offense when he looked like, he looked like an actual point guard.
I like the one possession where he drove. There was a clear goaltend on his layup attempt. They didn't call it for whatever reason, but the ball ended up finding him in the corner, and he said, all right, I won't take the 2. I'll take the 3.
I'll just take the 3.
Instead. He was good.
He was good.
I like the point that Derek just made, too. Like the idea that Jared Butler in 3 or 4 years is a backup point guard rotation player like a TJ McConnell has become. Now, TJ's become a super version of that. But for another team, some guy who is contributing to a good team, that's not crazy to me. I'm not saying it's guaranteed.
No.
He still has a lot of work to do. TJ in his first year still had a lot of work to do. But it is true that some of these guys will take this opportunity and probably turn it into something much better, right? And that might not be with the Sixers, but that's kind of how it works, right? You start with one of the worst teams in the league, which the Sixers have been over the last month. Take advantage of the reps that the organization is giving you. Show up pretty well, and Jared Butler's been up and down, I would say, but obviously has like a good feel for running the pick and roll. Can throw lobs through a couple to Bona tonight that were pretty good. The idea that he wouldn't be that he'd be a steady point guard for kind of a mid-tier playoff team, backup point guard. That's not crazy to me.
Yeah, so the TJ1 is really good from you and Derek, and then you also look at someone like Ty Jerome. While the height difference, 6'5" versus 6'1", 6'2", for those two guys. But we're just talking about the point guard position in general and what they do. And it took Ty Jerome a while to really latch on to the right spot, man. And he's really found a home in Cleveland, and he looks really good as part of their rotation. I'd imagine if they re-sign him.
They might not be able to keep him.
That's the thing.
They're kind of in a Yabu situation with him where they're over the salary cap and they're only able to offer him so much money. So we'll see what happens. I love stories like that, man,
By the
because
way,
it doesn't always happen.
Thanks for watching on the television side. We go to overtime here, and make sure you check us out at allphly.com for the remainder of the show.
Yep. I love those stories. Like, we don't see that often in the NBA, where you get this player development and somebody who, I feel like you see that more in baseball, and you see that sometimes in football, where a guy is unheralded and maybe he played at a small school or something like that. We don't always see that in basketball. So for Ty Jerome to be a contributor on a team that's going to win a ton of games this year, like, I don't know, are the Cavs still on pace for 60? They're pretty close. I know they're having a little bit of a for them, but he has been awesome for them this year.
They're 59 and 15.
Okay, so yeah,
So they'll be fine.
They're clearly going to get 60. Okay,
Yeah.
Even better than I thought. Yeah. So, and if Ty Jerome is the lesson for Jared Butler, work on that floater. Ty Jerome shooting like 60% on floaters this year.
Not a bad shot. It's not a bad shot.
Unguardable if you make it at that level.
Not a bad shot. By the way, the Thunder have 62 wins on the season. OKC, and they're currently, they took care of business tonight against the Indiana Pacers, 132 to 111 tonight as well. All right, let's get ready to, we already did the tank watch, but we'll show the tank watch. Just take a look at what happened with the final score. One more time. Yes, sir, Cam Johnson. Yes, sir, 115-112 victory over the Washington Wizards, helping the Sixers out. 5th worst record in the NBA, correct? Isn't that the how it goes? So Cam Johnson, 18, Tyrese Martin, 20, local product for a lot of people who don't know Tyrese Martin. Played. He got his contract guaranteed for the remainder of the season. I think he actually signed a deal.
Made some
with
big
them.
free throws down the stretch.
Yes, he did. So
by the way, Cam Johnson, he got the Scotty Barnes, Larry Markkanen treatment.
Sit down in the final few minutes of the fourth quarter.
He only played 24 minutes. So.
Shout out Drew Timme then for the game winner.
Go Zags.
How about he? 19 points and 6 boards in 29 minutes, and the game winner, 20 off the bench for Jalen Wilson. I didn't know that they've known each other since they were in like 4th grade. So how crazy is that they're on the same NBA team? But good job, Nets. Teamwork.
I'm going to need Drew Timme to exact revenge on Jared Butler when I guess, you know what? Never mind. I thought it was the Wizards against the Sixers. Drew Timme and Gonzaga lose to Baylor and Jared Butler and a bunch of other dudes in the NCAA championship game that year.
By the way, their schedule the rest of the way, Nets, Dallas Monday, at Dallas Monday, home for 4 straight, Minnesota, Toronto, big game, New Orleans, big game, Atlanta, at home.
Give it a slower clap, yeah.
At Minnesota, and then home for New York, the final game of the season.
But the Knicks might not be trying. They might be locked into that number 3 seed.
Probably. Minnesota, I don't know, but that Toronto and New Orleans game in particular, those 2 games, back-to-back, Sunday, Tuesday. Big games.
Yeah.
Big games. All right, let's get to the prospect watch, see what's going on in college basketball. Let's go back to yesterday with Jace Richardson in Michigan State, if you will. This was Kyle's guy. Give him credit for saying that, he wanted to really see how things played out going into the tournament with Jace Richardson. Knew about him because of his dad. They win 73-70 over Mississippi, and he was tremendous with 26 boards, 6 for 8 from the floor, 4 for 6 from 3, and 32 minutes for Jace Richardson. Talk about freshmen doing their job. He was tremendous yesterday for that team, and that's why people have been talking about him being in the lottery.
He's a drastically different player than his dad was.
The younger brother has the hops.
Yeah. The dad was just this jump out of the gym 3-point shooter. He's crafty. He's like left-handed, knows how to score. He reminds me a little bit. He's not as good of a prospect. A little bit of Dylan Harper where he just uses angles really well and gets into the paint.
I see that.
It doesn't seem like he should be this unbelievable finisher, but he did a great job in that game. And he clearly looks like, I don't know, is he projected as a lottery pick? He's If
right
not,
now he is. Yeah.
If not, he'll be close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6'3", though.
It's a little small.
Yeah. 6'3". Yeah. And you need some more explosiveness, too. Even though he has a craftiness to him, you do need some explosiveness. And that's why some people may have, like my guy, fears in front of him, because the guy, as you just said, he just lives in the paint, man. He gets to the paint. That first step is crazy. His handle is really good. No fear. That's probably why, even at 6'4", just a tad bit taller, that he is most likely projected to be a little bit higher. The Duke boys playing right now, Rich. What's going on? You've been keeping an eye on what's happening in the box score of what's happening in the game. Flag has been struggling based on the people talking about it. He has 5 for 15 for 12 points. But Knipple started off really well. He has 19 to lead the Blue Devils in scoring. They're up right now by 14 on Alabama with just under 4 minutes to play.
Pretty impressive considering what Alabama did in the previous game. I think Alabama is really struggling from the 3-point line in this game. They did not struggle in the 3-point line against Kevin Young's
Sears is 2 for 10. He had like 34 the other
BYU
night.
team. And I don't know. That's probably not all Flag, but that's what Derek was talking about. As good as Cooper Flag has become at making reads and scoring, even though he's having a tough game tonight, the dude just affects winning in so many different ways. And a lot of that comes on the defensive end, right? Great rebounder, just great help defender, weak side blocks, but also can stay in front of people one-on-one as well, too. So he is a very unique prospect in that, sure, other players might have one skill that is just like super duper elite that he might not have, but his quote unquote weaknesses are strengths for every other player. He does not have weaknesses. And it's, I've been saying this, like, I think he's almost underrated at this point. Like, he had all the hype in the world coming into this season. Devon, he is so unbelievably young. He should not be doing this in a sport that is so unbelievably old. I don't know how old Mark Sears and Grant Nelson are, but I know I've been watching them for a million years playing college basketball, and I know that that's the case for a lot of these top teams.
Yeah.
So for this kid to be, I think he turned 18 in December?
I'll check it out for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he turned 18 in December, or 19 in December, one of those two. Super young for a freshman.
Yeah.
And to just dominate college basketball is pretty crazy, which is why we're in the spot we're in now.
Yes, absolutely. And one more thing, the two guys, Knipple and Malawak, you got the 6th pick tonight. Consider either one of them at 6.
I really like Knipple's game. I'm a little worried about that body translating to the NBA. He's big.
He's big, but somebody's going to run right by him.
Exactly. What's it look on the defensive, like on the
It's
defensive
like a
end?
Corey Kispert kind of thing. And I like Kispert, but I like Kispert at 15, not 6.
He's good. I mean, I think he has a little bit more dribble drive than Kispert did. Kispert was an amazing scorer at Gonzaga.
Yeah.
But Knipple's doing that right away as a freshman, which I think he needs to get credit for. I'm considering either of them. Yeah. Again, being the first pick would be a lot better than being the 6th.
100%. 100%. Or just simply in the top 4. But
Yes.
number 1,
Agree.
you're pretty good. All right, let's get to one more super chat, and then we can get out of here. Give everybody a break on this Saturday night. We thank you for hanging out with us. Scott says, sorry, Devon. Love your cousin. Hate the Knicks because of Brunson. Foul, baiting, no defense, overrated. Thank you, Scott, for the super chat.
No comment from next to me.
Listen,
It's a little bit of a foul baiter, a little bit.
I admit
I don't
that.
think he's overrated, though.
I admit that he's a foul baiter, but I agree with you. I don't think he's overrated. He's good.
It's pretty damn good.
He's really good. But the foul baiting, yes. He found a loophole. He's taking advantage of it. Sometimes I think it's a little bit too much. I agree with you, especially with the flopping and stuff on the defensive end.
The one that kills me is when he basically gets the guy on his hip and runs backwards.
And jumps back into him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think
He's
should
not
be.
he's not the only one to do it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I agree.
Luka
not
does
overrated.
it. Luka does it all the time. Shea, people are going crazy now when they watch Shea and how he does it.
He's getting a lot of the grief.
He's getting
now.
he's getting the MVP calls, man. He's
Yeah,
getting,
but he's getting the Joel Embiid level scrutiny now. Too,
Yes, he
from
is.
from the NBA Twitter
yes,
people.
he is.
So,
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So, Scott, thank you though. I gotta root for who I gotta root
Sure.
for, man. You know,
I mean, he seems like a great guy. Jalen Brunson, big Eagles fan.
Jalen is a really, really nice guy.
Come on.
Yeah, all the years just seeing him from Nova and the times that I am able to be around him, still the same dude. And the attention is way different, but he's still the same dude.
So Tim McMahon had a piece on ESPN.com this week about Jalen Brunson, and it was
Is this the one that's the excerpt?
it was
from
an
the book?
excerpt from the book.
I
yeah,
read that
from the Luka book. I completely forgot about how much Dallas fumbled the bag on that one. Oof.
twice. They didn't give him the contract offer initially. They wanted to come back in January.
What was the one they would?
55.
They would have accepted
Four
four
for 55.
Oh my lord!
4 for 55.
And I think Rick Brunson said, and this was actually chronicled at the time.
Yes.
He said, "We'll do 4 for 52. Make it a round number. We'll give you a little bit of a break." 4 for 50 for Jalen Brunson. Yeah, he'd still be on that contract right now. Oops.
Big oops. Big oops.
Not the biggest oops for the Dallas Mavericks over the past few years, but a big oops.
And look, they may not have won the finals, but they definitely got to a conference finals. Because even when Luka went out with the injury, Jalen was going nuts in that second round matchup, and
Yeah,
that's
he
how they
kept them
got.
afloat.
That's how they got to the conference finals. Yep. So, if you haven't read that, go read that, and you'd probably be like,
Poor,
"What?
poor DLS guys.
Yo, they going through it.
Damn.
They're going so far as to say, look, even Quentin Grimes is going off in Philly, averaging 28 in the month of March.
At least this Sixer season, which has been rough.
We got that.
We've talked about how rough it has been the entire year. I mean, it's been rough in like kind of predictable ways, in ways that we have seen time and again in the NBA. Team gets hurt, team gets old, those types of things. Man, we've never seen anything like this Dallas Mavericks collapse.
No. Igavini says Shea is Embiid's heir apparent. So there you go. Maybe, especially when he's going to go against now Denver for another MVP, potential MVP with Jokic, who's having a fabulous season.
Did you see the Euro step? Yeah, that was insane.
Off the wrong foot.
I just love that he shoots it too. So many guys do the field goal savings. You know that drives me insane.
Yeah.
I say that all the time.
Yeah. All right, folks, that'll do it for us. We've hit everything here tonight. Sixers lose their 7th in a row. They've lost their 51st game of the season. They have started their 50th different starting lineup, and they are officially eliminated from the playoffs. And to make things just a little bit better, though, with the 5, they have the 5th worst record because Brooklyn defeated the Washington Wizards. And they are half a game back now of the Brooklyn Nets in the standings. Let's get to the world-famous roll call on this Saturday night. Let everybody know we'll be back tomorrow for pregame. I think it's 6:30.
I can look it up.
All right, you look it up. Let's say goodbye to a lot of people, starting with our good friend Neil Deaver. What up, Neil? DJ, a.k.a. Mr. Sandman. Bring me a dream that they close out the season on a 15-game losing streak.
If they do that, they'll be no worse than the fifth worst record.
And that's all you could ask for.
No better than the 5th.
What up, Kyle Wright? What's going on, Kyle? Let's see. We saw Sal in there early. I remember Igavini. Noob. What up, Noob? Jeffrey Stewart. Hey, Nona. Good to see Nona in there. I saw Val in there a little bit earlier. She was even, not that she wanted them to tank. She was just like, I'm so happy the season is almost over just because.
Understandable, Val.
Just because. Hinky in the building. What up, Hinky? It's your time, Hinky. It is your time. Who else did we have in here tonight? We had Scott Sotan Riaz in the chat and in the super chat. So we appreciate Scott Riaz. And who was the third super chat there, Bree? We had James Alexander in the chat and in the super chat. Thank you, James. We really appreciate it. Fidel Castro of the Strip Club was in the chat. What up, Fidel?
What up, Fidel?
Good to see you in there, staying busy. What up, Fidel? We also had Huka Doncic, got traded to the Lakers also. We already said what's up to Kyle Wright. John Peace. What up, Peace? Good to see you as always. SB Cole in the mix here tonight. Brandon from New Jersey said, I don't disagree, Devon. Come on. I said, Which part? I forgot. LOL. Love it. That's what we do. We're here. Joaquin, what up, Joaquin? Good to see you as always. And who else do we have here? I'm running out of space. I'm getting a lot. Brandon. Saw Brandon in there. Oliver hanging out with us as well in the chat. Who else did we have, Bree? Did you see anybody any different? I don't know. We had a lot of people in here tonight. Joaquin, Prophet One. Good to go back and see Prophet One. Yams. What up, Yams? Good to see Yams in the chat, in the mix as well. And Larry K also hanging out with us with Art Bleichman as well. Everybody, make sure you go like and subscribe to the show. When you do, hit the bell icon so you can get the alert to let you know that it is, in fact, showtime. And you will be alerted for tomorrow, because what time is the game tomorrow?
7:30.
7 o'clock pregame right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show. So everybody come hang out with us. Mac Mon, saw you as well. Thank you. Appreciate everybody. Miles, all of you for hanging out with us. Chris Miller, we thank everybody for hanging out, and we want to give a special shout out to producer extraordinaire, Bree.
The best.
Nobody better. Derek, thank you so much for joining us from the arena. We'll talk to you tomorrow, folks, at 7 o'clock. Enjoy the weather. Go out there and get some sun. Have some fun. Watch the baseball game tomorrow early. The tournaments, will give you Prospect Watch tomorrow to round out the Final Four. See how things go. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. We'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the PHLY Sixers pregame show presented by Bet365. Good night.
We all silly like the mayor.